Well, Drew said the only way he's going to do a podcast tonight if we don't talk about the Browns dog logo contest. So we're going to talk some Browns depth chart. It's an interesting place in the season. We're past the draft. The NFL schedule is going to be released this Thursday night. Maybe exciting times with this Browns draft. No first and second round pick, but there are some changes, especially coming out of free agency. There will be some changes to the roster. So, Eric, let's go to you first here. Let's talk some offense. I guess let's break down some of the different position groups, where you see change and where you're excited for this Browns offense.
Well, if you go off the context that it's the end of last season, I only see one differing starter from last year, and that's in the slot position with Elijah Moore, and I think that's a pretty big upgrade. David Njoku, still a tight end. They have Jordan Akins behind him. I haven't really been impressed with Harrison Bryant, and perhaps they get a familiar weapon with Deshaun Watson. You get Cedric Tillman at receiver to kind of join the groups with Amari and DPJ on the outside. More, as I kind of already said, on the slot. And you got Marquise Goodwin, a veteran, to help out on the receiving group. I'm intrigued to see what Dorian Thompson-Robinson's going to do. I expect him to be the third stringer, perhaps be the second string down the road. Maybe at some point be a starter, or at least trade him somewhere where he could go to another team to start and we can get a better than a 5th round pick back. But I like to see what he could do on the field. So for the offensive line, pretty much status quo from last year. Wills, Batonio, Posick, Teller, and Conklin. Conklin and Wills have Dawand Jones and James Hudson behind them. One's a rookie, one's been in spot duty. We have Colby Gossett and Drew Forbes backup guards, and then Nick Harris, Luke Wypler at center. Not a whole lot of depth there as far as experience is concerned. Guys have played before in the league, but feel kind of light there. So hopefully there's no injuries, and I don't know if we need to take a look at a cheap veteran or if one of those even exists. But I really like where we're at with this offense. I like the upgrades they made on the outside. I think Watson and the offense will greatly improve in the passing game from where they were a year ago. Obviously, being more familiar with the offense is surely going to help too. There was no real touching of the running back position yet. I think a veteran could be added. I know Jerick McKinnon has been bandied about as a cheap option. Right now they're 3 deep. They have Chubb, Jerome Ford, Demetric Felton. I don't know how much longer Demetric Felton's going to be on the team, but I could see them adding a veteran to that position group. So all things said, I like where we're at with this offense. I hope they all stay healthy and some of these younger guys develop and become good spot starters in times of need.
That was a bit of our weakness throughout the season. It was a rebuilding or resetting season with Deshaun coming in. But Drew, where do you feel more comfortable with some of the depth building? Is it adding some Buckeyes on the offensive line? Is it the wide receiver position where it seems like we've got quite a few more people? Where are you more comfortable with the depth?
I certainly, one of the things I wrote down was wide receiver. That there is a significant upgrade. I think Elijah Moore is the wide receiver too. I don't think he plays slot. I think he is your starter. I think he is the superior talent. He offers a dimension that DPJ does not. I think Donovan Peoples-Jones is better served in the slot. Now, Elijah Moore can certainly play there if you want to move him into the slot, a la Antonio Brown. I know he used to do that when there were 3 wide receivers. He would run the slot sort of routes. I'm fine with that, but I would rather see Elijah Moore on the field. So in doing so, you essentially upgrade multiple spots, right? He slots in at wide receiver too. That's an upgrade to Donovan Peoples-Jones. Donovan Peoples-Jones is a huge upgrade to whoever they had playing slot receiver. I remember being on Twitter interacting with some Browns fans. They're like, why don't they run 3 wide receivers? And I was like, I don't think they have 3 wide receivers on this team right now. Did like the 7th round rookie or second year collegiate running back Demetric Felton, that was your best option at slot receiver at many points in time last year. So certainly some upgrades there. I hope David Bell makes some additional strides. He was hurt some of last year, couldn't play. So hopefully he's able to play a lot this year. I hope certainly Jakeem Grant, need him to be healthy. He was out all of last year. Just getting some of those guys back. I think you'll see a much improved, at least, when it comes to the first 3. And if somebody were to miss a game in those first 3, I don't think you're talking about a collegiate running back trying to play slot receiver in the NFL anymore. So I'm certainly really excited about that. If we stick to the offense, the other sort of big question that I have, who is going to be the backup center? I like Luke from Ohio State. The starting center was all world last year, and then he got hurt. So certainly good to have him back, to re-sign him, but looking to see who wins that backup battle either way. I think the depth is much better there. And then the big position battle in camp that I would be looking at is who becomes the swing tackle. I personally am rooting for James Hudson. He's a 3rd-year player. He's only 24 years old. This will be his 3rd year under Bill Callahan. I think he's going to have the leg up on Dawand Jones, the rookie from the Ohio State University. But if it is Dawand Jones, that means he's made a ton of strides. That means the weight is under control. That means he's grasped some of the technique, the advanced technique, the complex blocking scheme. Right, it's hard to step in and play right away. So I'm looking at that swing tackle position there between Dawand Jones and James Hudson. Right now they're listed as backup left tackle, backup right tackle, but one of them will come in and play should there be an injury, right? I look to see who wins that particular battle in camp. That's one I have my eye on.
Eric, do you think DPJ should feel threatened at all? Cedric Tillman coming in, we've had high hopes for wide receivers a couple times now, and we haven't had a huge rookie performance, it seems like, at the wide receiver position. Should DPJ be worried?
Yeah, I think one thing the Andrew Berry's camp has kind of done is put people on notice, and I think DPJ is one of them. His contract situation, I think this is his last year of his rookie deal, so it's kind of figure out what we're going to do with him. So they traded down around for Elijah Moore, who I believe has 2 years left on his rookie deal, so they're going to have to make a decision with him. So although they are kind of different body types, they're still receivers, and the money needs to get paid and it needs to get allocated somewhere. So and then Amari Cooper, I can't remember the specifics of his deal. He had like 3 one-year deals, so I'm not sure how long he's going to be with the team. So a lot of influx there, but you ultimately got to produce. He's had some good moments, but he should be looking over his shoulder. They drafted Tillman with the expectations that, down the road, he's a big body guy as well, that he will be a reliable target for this offense. So, you're going to have your opportunities, so you got to make the most of them. But, I really like what they did with the wide receivers. They saw a very, very, very weak part of the team, and they upgraded. So it's play the best man, to be the man, you got to beat the man, I guess, at that position group. So, careful of that.
Kicking us off on the right foot there. Drew, let's move over to defense. We'll get you first attempt on the defense, and we'll switch over here to the defensive chart. We still have the stars. We still have Myles Garrett. We've got Denzel Ward. We have some promising players on the defensive side. There might be depth. We saw quite a few injuries on the defensive side too. But how are you feeling about the Browns' defensive depth chart going into this next season?
It should be improved at a couple of areas. Losing Clowney can hurt, although he didn't have his best last season, but when he was on his game, he was an excellent complement to Myles Garrett. So certainly looking to see some of those replacements. The guy they signed out of Houston, I think, is going to be a really good player for them. He's shown a lot of flashes. He produced at an excellent pass rush percentage win rate. That's a lot of words to say. When he was given pass rush opportunities, he was able to generate pressure on the quarterback. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what he's able to do if the Browns can get into some passing down and distances. The big thing that I'm looking at is who starts opposite Dalvin Tomlinson. Is it Ika, their second pick in the third round? Is it Jordan Elliott? Do some of the previous investments that they've made at this position have not gone well? Like, does Perion Winfrey make the team? Does Tommy Togiai make the team? Right? These weren't seventh round picks; these were third and fourth rounders. You hope that they're able to produce or at least be excellent depth. That's the reason you spend those sort of picks on them. And they certainly have not. So I'm hoping that Ika, who was very clearly a Jim Schwartz type of a pick, this was like a 3 or 3.1 on the RAS scale, which is a measurement of like the old Spark scores that we used to look at. He was very low on that sort of a list. A lot of people say he reminded them of Danny Shelton. I sort of see that. If Danny Shelton was picked at number 99 or 100, is that a good pick? Maybe. But even then, he wasn't a great player, I don't think. So I'm looking at that position, and you hope to get something approximating an average level nose tackle play out of that one technique, the guy who's lined up in between the center and guard. We have not had that in Cleveland in a very, very long time. That has been a massive hole. Quite literally, they would just run right over that sort of a position and generate 3, 4, 5 yards a carry. You would pull and block that guy with just one blocker, and it opens up the rest to get to the linebackers. And that is the position that still worries me today. So I'm hopeful they get something approximately NFL average. It would be a huge improvement. If they get that, I think the pass rush can be excellent.
Eric, I'm disappointed that we've spent so much effort figuring out how to pronounce Tommy Togiai. Hopefully he is back for another season, among other reasons. Eric, how are you feeling about the defense going into this next year?
Yeah, to Drew's point, the other, more likely the 3 technique defensive tackle worries me. Tristan Hill was also not mentioned. He was a veteran pickup. It's kind of a wing and prayer at that position. They need to hope somebody just pans out. Maybe they could get a veteran pickup who could plug the hole, I guess, at that position. The other thing that kind of concerns me is the linebackers. I'm not sure if they're going to be doing. I don't think they'll be doing too much traditional 4-3 defense. Maybe they'll have a 4-2 with 5 defensive backs. You look at their depth chart. You got JOK at the will, Anthony Walker at the Mike, Jacob Phillips at the Sam with Tony Fields backing him up. We have Taki, who's going to start off likely injured the season at middle linebacker. And at will, maybe Jordan Kunasik or Matt Adams. Not exactly what I would call a murderer's row at linebacker position. This defense is not going to be asked to do a whole lot. It's not going to be like, Ray Lewis or I can't remember his name from the Ravens with the Arizona State, who was there.
Terrell Suggs?
Like Terrell Suggs, yeah. So they're not going to be asking for those type of plays from our linebackers. It's going to be mostly coverage, but making tackles and making impact plays down the field. And we haven't seen too many of those in the last couple of years. So I'm hoping that they can, kind of right the ship. Other thing that's kind of concerning had been the safety play. Juan Thornell, hopefully he's an improvement over John Johnson. That's the expectation. I like the signing of Rodney McLeod that was added last week at strong safety. Might not be a starter. Hopefully, I mean, if he's better than Delpit, he's better than Delpit. Hopefully he can, kind of be that leader in the room that can kind of crack some skulls and say, hey, you need to be at the right place at the right time. Something that's been lacking for many years. And then, I mean, the rest of the secondary, the corners, I feel are at pretty good shape. I'm intrigued to see if Cameron Mitchell can kind of do what MJ Emerson did in his, availability and opportunities as a rookie, make some plays. So, I mean, we do have some obvious holes. Hopefully they're filled. With people who exceed expectations. I don't think it's nearly as bad as it was last year. Again, not a high bar to clear. But if some of these free agent pickups can exceed expectations, then we should have, at worst case scenario, average defense. Hopefully, we could be in the top. I don't say top 10, but between 10 and 15. I would gladly take that over what we've been seeing for many, many years.
Worst case scenario is average. That's some positivity that we're talking about there. We've got superstars on offense. Hopefully that group clicks next year. We're looking for a big season out of Deshaun Watson, Nick Chubb, the entire Browns offense. Hopefully the offensive line stays healthy, but we still have those defensive stars that are in their prime. Another big year from Myles Garrett coming up. So it's exciting. We're building depth on offensive line, and certainly this team should be a little bit more resilient going into this next season.